Toronto Community Hepatitis C program provides access to hepatitis C treatment to people who are homeless or underhoused, use substances, or are otherwise stigmatized in the mainstream healthcare system. Our work is deeply rooted in harm reduction, social justice, and providing and creating opportunities for meaningful involvement and personal development beyond HCV treatment. Our program employs a team of community support workers who came into the program as clients and group participants, attended and graduated from the peer training program, and underwent formal hiring process.
Hi, my name's Tom, and I'm a member of the Toronto Community Hepatitis C Support Program.
Hello everybody, my name is Marty Bam. I've been a community support worker at South Riverdale Community Health Center for approximately 6 years.
I'm Keith, and I'm a peer community support worker, and I love my job.
My name is Jennifer, and I'm a community support worker. I was one of the original hires, so I've been with the program now for 6 years, and I'm really glad to be here.
My name is Signe, and I'm on the Patient Advisory Board. I also work part-time as a community support worker.
Clients come to us through word of mouth, referral by a healthcare provider, through a community worker, or they find us through internet search. Clients meet with the treatment nurse for intake and to discuss treatment options. Treatment Support Group. Group participation is encouraged as it offers opportunities for connection with others in the community and for engagement and participation beyond access to treatment. While attending the group, clients are seen by clinical staff and other healthcare providers as needed. Groups are facilitated by community support workers, all of whom are past clients of the program.
We take turns describing what our week has been like. It's called check-in. Everybody gets their chance to talk and to be heard. And it's very important, I think, because it contributes to the group. And also at the same time, you get a chance to eat. And there's good food. There's salad and good whole wheat bread and sandwiches made with good whole wheat bread.
Continuing care. After clearing HCV, clients are encouraged to join the program's continuing care group facilitated by the community support workers. Continuing care group offers ongoing support in a group setting as well as opportunities for further involvement.
And one of the things I noticed was, that we all noticed, was the fact that we were kind of left hanging. After done treatment, there was, after being in a group and having this new adopted family, you jumped off to nothing. So what we've developed now is a schedule so that the clients know what's going on from week to week. We do this continuing care once a week, like the treatment groups. It runs along the same lines. You come in, you sit down, you have your little bit of a meal. Like I cook up a meal rather than having sandwiches and stuff all the time. I'll make something, and they love it, for Easter and Christmas. I make turkey dinners and stuff like that. We do offer transportation in the form of bus tokens and a good healthy meal. And we do a lot of good things that the clients themselves initiate. One thing we did was, when we made up our schedules, we asked the clients, what would you guys like to do? Some of the stuff we just can't afford to do, right? But some of the things we do is art projects. We do a lot of art projects. We do a lot of goal setting, yoga, mindfulness. The list goes on and on. We have barbecues in the summertime, all kinds of different outings.
Patient Advisory Board. The program's Patient Advisory Board, or PAB, ensures the meaningful participation of people living with HCV in the development, implementation, and evaluation of the program.
You self-select to want to be on the Patient Advisory Board. Your group members either vote you in or they don't. You meet once a month. You get paid an honorarium. And at those meetings, you help with research and disseminating research and ideas for research projects. You provide feedback on program elements, and you also provide ideas for developing new program elements. And so that's what, basically, in a nutshell, what the Patient Advisory Board does.
Peer Training Program. The purpose of this program is to increase the capacity of program clients to act as support workers for their peers within our program or at other agencies in the community. The training is 2 hours a week for 18 weeks. The sessions focus on skill building specific to a frontline community worker's job: communication, boundaries, ethical considerations, group facilitation, public speaking, diversity, and harm reduction.
I took the peer training course, which more than my master's degree, I was more proud of this peer support training course and finishing it.
I was one of them students that came right on the brink of late. You know, I was one of those guys, but I graduated though. And graduating that peer class was really important to me because through all my struggles and everything, nobody gave up on me. So they expected us to write letters to why we wanted to go, what we would accomplish. So that's basically how you get into peer training. I applied for a job after that. And I got hired. And now that I am in peer training as a facilitator and not a client, it's we look over all the applications and it's a grueling process because we want everybody to be allowed to do it. We don't want to say no, but there's only 13 spots. And if we've got 30 people applying,
I would go home for Christmas or holidays and they'd be all like, "Oh, is it ever nice to see you? When are you leaving?" All in the same sentence. It would be like I haven't even come in the door and I'm already being asked to leave.
I experienced stigma from my own drug using community because I am an injection drug user, and there seems to be a hierarchy within the drug using community which injection drug users sit at the bottom of. But I've also experienced it like in terms of healthcare, not wanting to disclose to my family doctor for fear that I wouldn't get treated or I would get treated differently because that's very common. And just the, sort of that belief that feeling that you get from doctors and from healthcare providers that somehow you're drug seeking when in fact you're not.
Especially with the medical profession. As soon as I disclosed that I was on methadone, immediately you can see in the physician's eyes, male or female, uh-oh, this woman wants drugs. I remember I was looking for a new family doctor and I went to see somebody and mentioned that I was on methadone, and right away he said, "I don't prescribe opiates." I wasn't asking him for opiates, I needed a family doctor. And he hurt me with his attitude. He looked disgusted. He refused to take me as a client. And I left his office and I was just sobbing. That kind of discrimination really hurts.
you know, I have a doctor look me in my eyes and tell me that they don't trust me. I don't think anybody has the right to tell me I'm not capable of taking care of myself because I use drugs. I think it's bullshit.
One time I was in a doctor's office for an 8:30 appointment, got seen at 10:15 with 30 people in front of me, but I was the first person in that office. That to me is what stigma looks like. He can wait, he can wait, he can wait. And there's no lower feeling out there than just being treated as a floor mat.
People that use drugs are not a waste. They're not a waste of time. They're not, throwaway garbage. Like, they're people. We're people. I'm a person. And I deserve to be thought of as such. So, stigma. Boo.
My life was a mess. When I arrived here, a whole new journey began in my life. I found a group of people that didn't ask me to change anything about myself. As I came into the weekly meetings, the support group, I began to discover different strengths that I had always had, but it kept buried and didn't recognize any longer. And I started to put things together a little bit at a time. I felt as if I had some sort of purpose. So my life completely transformed itself by just being told, hey man, you're welcome here. You know, come join this family. My experiences personally here have not all been happy times. I've had a lot of rough little moments personally and within the groups and challenges and everything. But overall, the success and the joy that I possess from being a part of this family is, you can't put a price tag on that. What I've ended up having is a adopted family.
I could never understand why I was considered such a monster, because I was an intravenous drug user, and I never found a niche where I felt at home. As soon as I walked into the group, I looked around the table and I saw me. I saw my people. I felt at home. I felt part of something. I felt part of a community. And not only that, but I felt like I could say who I was, and people would still care about me. They'd be happy to see me. I felt softness all around me, and I felt like I belonged someplace. I've had nothing but good experiences in this place. I was so lucky the day I walked through these doors. I feel blessed, and I'm very grateful.
I was really distrustful of like everybody and everything. And I didn't really participate. Certainly, I wasn't talking about my drug use. There was a part of me that just kind of felt like, oh, well, if I actually tell the truth of like of what I'm doing, that I'm for sure not going to get, you know, what I need to get. But I did keep coming back because I was at least able to recognize that for those 2 hours that I was in group, that I was doing something good for myself. Little by little, I started getting involved. You know, I'd let little pieces of myself out, you know, just to like gauge the room and gauge the facilitators, and, you know, not really trusting that this was a good fit, but hoping that it was. Like when you come to the program, you're broken, you know, you're met at the door, everybody's welcoming, everybody's accepting and non-judgmental. They're all building blocks to building a better me, really, you know, seeing other people's point of view of you, like, and people saying, no, you know, you may be down on yourself, but I see it in a totally different way. Like, you're a good person, you're smart, you're this, you're that. Those are things that you've stopped believing in about yourself. And then little by little, you go like, oh, well, maybe they're right, and maybe I'm wrong. Like, and so just helping to like reframe or refine that, you know, some of those good and positive things. I think this program is like amazing for, because I think we all came in broken, and like little by little, we're like put back together like Humpty Dumpty.
I came in, I was pretty distraught, moody, generally all around angry. You know, I knew I wanted to get put back together when I found out that I had hepatitis C, and it was really depressing, but I hung in. That was the great part of the groups. I found that, you know, the camaraderie of other soldiers with me on the same fight, right? And, you know, the fact that other people were going through what I was going through, I had people to talk to. You know, certain people kept saying, hang in there, and I kept coming back every week, and it was really comforting to know that people were going through the same shit that I was going through. When my treatment first failed, I went to an aftercare group, and you know, I met more people there, so I was really involved by this time. My supports were phenomenal. Everybody was in my corner. If you would have knew me when I first came in, you would say two different people. I'll put it to you like that. I was fucking mean, rude, you know, always tired, you know. I'm talking about like I learned my routines through group. Like, you know, I had to start off right from the beginning, like doing laundry every week, cooking meals for myself, like all that. Like big turnaround, big turnaround. Like I'm so proud of myself.
A person who's marginalized and transient, and a person who uses drugs was often shunned upon from the healthcare system. I went through several different provinces, several different healthcare facilities. Each time was refused treatment due to my addiction. It made no sense to me. So, being diagnosed with HIV upon arrival with the HEPC program here in Toronto, I just took it in hand, like, oh, well, it's something else I have to cure. You know, I've been stigmatized by so many different things in so many different ways that this is just another thing to add to my baggage. It was, yeah, there was times when it felt really rough, emotionally, physically, mentally. Without my group and without the camaraderie and my facilitators and the doctors having a little bit of compassion and that towards us, I was able to accomplish this, to leap over those barriers. But I managed to steer through it all, and I managed to accomplish what I needed to accomplish, given the chance.
Initially, when I came to the program as a client, I was very reserved, very standoffish, very marginally engaged. But as I stayed with the program and kept coming to these rooms, there was a sense of camaraderie, there was a sense of family, and also I had the sense that, despite everything else that was going on in my life, this was something that I was doing that was good for me. So there was the opportunity to be on the patient advisory board. There was the opportunity to do the peer training. Then there was the opportunity to hire for, to get hired for a community support worker position. I basically took all those opportunities. You spent so much time in these rooms, and so, the people in the rooms really became your sort of extended family. As I started to make changes, because I think the program allowed me to grow in a healthy way. So as I started to make changes, and my housing situation improved, my money situation improved, as all those things started to happen and I started to grow and get stronger and healthier, I continued to want to do that. And then, beyond being a client, then it became like I wanted to actually give back.
I'll volunteer my time for public events, speaking events, and other activities that I'm suited for.
There was something here that was wonderful in this community. And I felt it as soon as I walked in the door. And I wanted so badly to be a part of it. I could see people who had come before me and were doing really good things. They were becoming part of the community. They were becoming part of a family. They were helping organize the community and run the community. And because this community is bottom up, it comes from the user of the community, the user of the service on up, instead of coming from the directors and down. Because of that, I really wanted to be a part of this. Also, I felt like maybe I could be useful here, help people come up along a smoother road than the one I took.
I stayed involved mainly for the reason of watching the metamorphosis, as you can say, of clients, from being a piece of garbage, as my other colleague said, to something that you know? They don't feel like they're a piece of garbage. They feel like they're, you know, contributing to society.
My journey, my evolution, began with seeking treatment for Hep C, but it didn't stay there very long. I sort of waded through so much more of what, I don't know, precious cargo that I had packed away and dealt with all that. And I was so successful, I equated that with the delivery of service I received here, and I didn't want to let that go. So I stayed on, and it was a very good thing I did. I ended up doing 2 terms on the PAB. I did the community support workers training, and I graduated there. I've been involved in many projects along the way, and it's just been a wonderful lived experience all the way around, and I wouldn't trade that away for anything.
Like one of my good friends, she told me, you know, Keith, you'd be good at this work. And you know, this came at a time where I really didn't have a lot of self-confidence, really. You know, I was like, you know, just starting to come back to life, right? And I valued what she had to say, and she was like, stay connected, you know, hang around. You know, we got the peer training coming up, and you know, you never know what can happen. And I did, I stayed connected, and I'm glad I did.
What makes me feel trusted is being treated the same as everyone else. Being given a key card that works exactly like everyone else's. Being given a key that opens up the doors like everyone else.
What makes me feel trusted is the fact that I run my own group. I run the continuing care program. I've helped the program evolve in so many different ways.
I feel trusted when I'm given responsibility. When I'm given a responsibility that it's an important responsibility, and I'm expected to be at a certain place at a certain time, and when people give me that, I realize that they trust me to be there, and I take those kinds of commitments very seriously. I feel best about myself when I'm given some responsibility.
Being welcomed and being given opportunities to be involved in something greater than myself, being part of a community, to me that is what being trusted looks like. Being not trusted is never receiving that invitation.
I was at work and my boss came up to me and she was like, you know, I'm going away and I'm gonna be gone for 3 weeks. I was like, yeah, okay, have a good time and hope you have fun. And she was like, but I need you to take care of the money. And I was like, yeah, okay. What's all that entail? And she was like, here's $2,000. Make sure they all get their tokens and their money when they come to group. And I was like, wow, she really trusts me, you know? And it was a good feeling, but I was like, fuck, doesn't she know that I'm a crackhead? To get that trust given to me, I felt great. It was treasured. It was something that I always wanted, but people never really gave to me. So to get it, it was everything. It doesn't really take much to make me feel valued. You know, just saying hi to me in the morning, like, hey Keith, good morning. And me saying that back to somebody is just, that's good enough for me, you know? I think value and trust and camaraderie and all that just goes hand in hand.
So for me, trust and values actually is very intertwined. But things that make me feel valued, again, is being treated and given the same opportunities as any other worker in the agency.
I feel like a valued member when I can live up to my expectations, the expectations that others put on me and the expectations that I put on myself.
What makes me feel valued? Seeing a change in my clients, going from where they were then, beginning of the program, to where they are now at the end of the program.
When they utilize people with lived experience, they always pay, which says a lot about like how they value us, right? Like they, it's not just a token position. Like we value your time, and they express that through paying honoraria, which I think is really important.
And what makes me feel valued? Well, there was a time in my life where when you saw me coming, you made yourself disappear. And that didn't really value me at all. And I might be, and now today people smile and their eyes light up and they're all like eager to have a moment with me. One of the most beautiful aspects of everything we do is how we embrace those that we have lost during their struggle in health or in any way. We celebrate their lives. We remain connected. We deal with this openly and with compassion. And to me, that's a promise in life that not everybody gets. We seem to bring that forward here. And that's a commitment that they're not providing me with just Hep C treatment. They're providing me with a connection that will take me right to the end of my days. And that is a great comfort in a lot of ways. It's like, no matter what happens to me, I'm not going to be alone.
I hate that word relapse. I use drugs. I've used drugs for years. And relapse is when drug use becomes chaotic. You don't pay your bills. You worry about being homeless.
It's a multi-dimension of fuck-ups. I think that not showing for work is something that I would do. Not answering my boss's phone calls is something I would do. Hiding in my bedroom when people knock on my door is something I would do. I would lose focus on everything that's important to me, and I would have one mission, and that is drugs. And if I don't have any, find out how to get some, rob, steal, fight, crawl, whatever I had to do. And for me, that's relapse.
This relapse for me is kind of an all-in, no-holds-barred way of using. It's, you compromise your housing, you compromise your values, you compromise your relationships. Relapse is like a loss of everything, as opposed to drug use. I'm going to go home, I'm going to go get high, and then I'm going to be done with it, like for today.
Over the years, I've learned to use. It doesn't interfere with my life. And I'm an intravenous drug user too, so I always use a clean syringe. I don't have too many scars. I take really good care of myself. I eat well. That's ordinary drug use for me.
I'm still an avid drug user, so there is no real relapse that way. My relapse has to do around harm reduction. I don't find myself in the spots I was before, doing the things I was doing before to obtain drugs.
Relapse to me is the abandonment of self. If I choose to use, I'm using with harm reduction in mind. But the abandonment of that would be to me relapse when I'm using constantly, daily. My housing's at risk. My life is at risk. I'm going to be back out on the streets. To me, that is what relapse looks like. Why do you think it is important to treat peer workers as any other worker?
Because they are any other worker. Quite simply put. I got hired. I went through a hiring process. I signed a contract. I have to deal with the same policies and procedures of the agency. The expectations are the same. Quite simply, I am no different from any other worker. The only difference between myself and another worker is that I have disclosed that I am an injection drug user and that I have a history of homelessness, that I have a history of incarceration, and that I have a history of Hep C. And so that's actually known at the front because that's what I'm being hired for. I'm being hired for those experiences. And so other people, such as someone in accounting, they may have all those same issues too, but they don't disclose them because it's not pertinent to their job.
I don't really see any difference as far as on the job, the practical part of it. The only difference really is that, the experience, maybe the schooling. Besides that, I think we're all one big cohesive team.
As a matter of fact, I think we're better workers because we believe, I believe anyway, that I've got something to prove. If somebody gives me that kind of trust, then I'm gonna go one step beyond their expectation of me. It's really important to me to prove that I can be a person that uses drugs, but I can also be a contributing, important member of a community.
We might have arrived in this room from different paths, but we're all here together in this room, right? We need to hang up our differences at the door and work together as a team, as a community, while here.
From the onset, going in that I might have challenges that are specific to my role, but trying to protect me from that does not value me. It doesn't look at me as a whole person. It doesn't say, you know what, I'm going to allow you to stand or fall on your own 2 feet. And frankly, I think it's important to allow people the chance not only to succeed, but also to fail. Because I think in failure, there's growth and there's learning. And you have to allow for that. And you can't protect people from that, and nor should you.
We're all able to excel. Through our training program, we're able to see what everybody can do, what their limits are. But their actual limits cannot be reached until they're actually given a chance.
Support us, don't patronize us.
Focus on what we can do and teach us what we can't.
See us, respect us.
Don't moralize us, normalize us.
Trust us until we give you a reason not to.
Give me an opportunity for growth and advancement.
Don't allow your fears and prejudices to stereotype us.
The only failure is in not trying. We can all grow together from our mistakes.
See us, respect us.